Good day everyone, this is Mapletree Logistics Trust third quarter FY23-24 financial results dated 24th January 2024. Right, this is a deeper dive than the earlier version. Right, and I would also like to thank Retirement, who is a blogger who commented that I should adjust the figures for divestments and as well as income support. Right, so we'll just quickly go through the highlights again. Right, so revenue is up 2.1%, NPI 1.5%, DPU up 1.2%. Right, but we'll look deeper into this due to the divestments and income support. Right, when we strip them out, what happens to DPU? Right, that's what we'll look into today. Right, portfolio occupancy is quite high at 95.9%. Right, average rental revision is 3.8%. Right, this is dragged down by China, as we'll see later. Right, and leverage is 38.8%. Right, debt hedge into fixed rates 83%. All right, and yeah, we look at their divestments, which are all quite positive above valuations. Right, so you can see above valuation about 15-16%. Right, 7.4% above valuation, 16% above valuation. So all their divestments seem to be those that they have divested and those that are proposed to be divested, right, this later on, seem to be above valuation, which is a good thing. They are fetching a good price for their properties, right, and they propose to acquire a warehouse in India, which is a growth area, right, so India is clearly growing very fast, so hopefully this is a good acquisition in the long run. Right, hopefully they don't overpay for it. Right, so here we look at the third quarter results in FY 2023 and 24 versus the last year's third quarter results. Right, so here when we look at the DPU, it looks like it went up by 1.2%, which is what they reported in the front. Right, but here we are going to try and strip out the divestment gains from the selling of the property. So basically they sold the properties and then they give the money out as distribution. Right, on one level we can say that it's good that they're distributing the money back out to unit holders, but on the second level we want to look at the operational performance of the REIT. Right, so a REIT is supposed to take income from rents and then pay the unit holders. Of course, nothing wrong with divesting gains and paying that money to unit holders, but we don't expect this to keep happening. So if we want to look at just the operational performance of the REIT, we should strip out the divestment gains. Right, so if I take out the divestment gains from the distributable income here, right, then the number is actually 105,986. All right, and of course if you minus the amount due to the perps, right, then it's 99,868,000. Right, and then when you divide by the number of units outstanding, right, you get a DPU of actually 2 cents. Right, so instead of 2.25 cents, right, actually the DPU without the divestment will be 2 cents. Right, this is operational performance. Of course you are getting 2.253 cents. All right, so if we compare this with the same period last year, right, we'll realize that again last year there's some income support. Right, income support is something like artificial addition to the distributions. All right, sometimes it could be due to when they buy a building, right, the building is not yielding enough rent, so the one who is selling the building offer income support. It could be some other reasons as well lah. But in the end of the day, income support is much like divestment gains. Right, there are one-offs that should be stripped out. Right, if you want to compare the operational performance of the REIT itself. Right, so if we take out the income support, this value is, in the third quarter last year is 2.214. Right, and I compare this one just operational performance. Right, it's actually a 9.7% drop. Right, which is quite bad. Right, so if we are looking at it a little bit deeper, right, without stripping out the divestment, right, so divestment really boosted the results in this quarter. Right, but I also say in mitigation that maybe the management is doing something right, all right, in selling the properties above valuation. Right, and if they can recycle the cash well and buy better properties or upgrade their properties, maybe it can be justified. All right, so if I look at operational performance, a 9.7% drop is clearly quite bad. Right, but it really depends on what the management choose to do with the money. Right, so 9-year performance. Right, so again we strip out all the divestments. Right, so this part also has a divestment of this amount, so we stripped it out. Right, so if we strip out divestment, it becomes the 9 months performance, you get 6.17 cents. Right, versus the previous 9 months, which is ended 31st December 2022, Alright, then we also strip out the divestments the income support. This one there's income support, and yeah, this one there's divestment as well. So there is some divestment money that they put inside here, and here is the income support. We'll strip both out, right? So when we strip out everything, the amount of distributions just from rental alone or the operational performance alone is 6.61 cents, right? And that has dropped to 6.17 cents, and that's a 6.7% drop, right? So the longer term results is 6.7%. So if we compare the short term results, it looks like the drop is getting worse, right? But they are actually selling more properties to prop up the DPU, right? If you want to look at it a bad way, that's what's going on, right? So finally, we look at second quarter versus third quarter. Again, we strip out all the divestments, right? So that's how I get these figures below. You should probably run the numbers yourself to just check, right? It's a 4.3% drop. Right, so this one is probably somewhat in line with Ascendus, right? Which I think there was a 6% drop for 6 months lah. So this is a quarter-on-quarter drop, right? Right. So my worry is that when they sell so many properties, right, are they destroying the REIT's NAV, right? So I actually wanted to have a look at NAV here. It looks like it's 1.42 drop to 1.4, right? Considering that they divested the 2 properties in Malaysia, right? So how was that money used? Right, they actually reduced some debt, right, which I think is a good thing, right? Reducing debt at this time is always a good thing, right? And yeah, so some of them, some of the cash came from dividend reinvestment plan, right? And gearing reduced slightly, right? Interest rate was maintained at 2.5% per annum. Alright, this is really low. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure how they get such a low interest rate, to be honest. Okay, yeah, so debt-wise, yeah, 2% and 7% in the near future, right, this year and next financial year. Alright, yeah, not going to talk too much about the rest. I think, like I always said, I have trouble understanding this REIT because of its properties being all over the place. Alright, I'm just going to have a look at some other parts of the report. Right, so this was the income support that we were talking about earlier, right? It's due to acquisition of a property in China, which makes me a little bit worried if they are overpaying for their Chinese properties, right? You can also see that here there's they had to go and get this amount back, right? Which they didn't say what country this tenant is in, right? But yeah, it could be China, right? So finally, we want to look at the rental revision in third quarter FY 23-24, right? If you exclude China, is 6.2%, right? If you include China, is 3.8%. So clearly, the China portfolio is again dragging the whole performance of this REIT lah. Yeah, so I'm really a bit concerned about their properties in China. But again, that's what you get when you diversify like that, I guess, right? So let's just have a look at their China risk, or the exposure to China, which I believe is something like 20%, right? Yeah, so something like 20% lah. Alright, so yeah, with that, I don't think I will say too much more. Right, thank you for your time.